very special edition of the EveryWei podcast. Today, EveryDay is not here, so it's basically a Yulwei podcast. But more importantly, my guest today is Yado, the mid laner for CERBERUS. Hello, Yado. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hello, thanks for inviting me today.
So, to start off, of course, just tell me how you're feeling right now.
I'm feel very happy and it's so uh happy.
Good to hear. And just before we go to more in-depth stuff, I wanted to ask you, how has your off season been? So the 2 month since the season is over, what have you been doing? Have you been watching some films or some animes? Have you been going home, or have you just been training League all day?
Um, in the off season, I and my team just stay inside the gaming house and practice. It's like number day.
Okay, so mostly practice still.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to hear. I'm very motivated. So, to start us off, I would like to go back to your history. Of course, you have been playing since 2016,
Yeah.
and we some of our followers, of course, have followed you for all the time. I myself haven't been have only started following the VCS last year, but some people are very interested to hear if you still know some of the people of your first team, most notably Levi, and if you still like to play with him sometimes.
Uh, yes, of course. I am very close to him.
You're still very close to him. Oh, that's good to hear. Did you when he wanted to go overseas? Were you surprised, or did you know that you wanted to go?
Uh, I just at the time I am very happy because he can do he can do what he want and I am really cheer for him.
Hmm. Well, good to know. Good to know. So the next team you joined, of course, was GAM, and you achieved the highest, your highest placing so far in the VCS with the second place in spring 2018, so 2 years ago. Was that your biggest achievement so far in your career, or do you think it's still you still want to achieve more?
I still I am not happy with that. I want to be the champion and the best player of Vietnam.
Oh, makes sense. Very good to hear. Before we go to your current team, Cerberus, maybe you can tell me from all the other teams you have been playing with, who was your favorite teammate? Who was the player you played with, you like to play with most?
Except my team, I want to play with Levi of course, and I see everybody is at the same level. Except Levi.
Okay. So, um, let's first get to your team right now, Cerberus. Last year, of course, was a little bit of a disappointment. You've managed to finish last. How did you feel that time? I imagine very disappointed. So, what made you stay over in Cerberus?
Um, we lost last year, but Ceres make me feel good and they treat me good. So I decided to play at Ceres.
This year, we can already see you made a big improvement, right? Yeah, you
Yeah.
finished fifth place, almost made it to playoffs, just barely. Do you think you can make playoffs in summer? Is that your big goal for summer?
Yeah. Of course, I think we can make it. I think we can make it, and we can go to the world stage and show our performances.
Ah. Yeah, that of course is the big goal. Only 2 teams make it though, so a fierce competition for you to get there. It's good to hear that you believe in your team. Which other 3 teams do you think make it to playoffs for the next split?
I think it's maybe EVOS, Flash, and DS or GAM.
The last one, can you tell me the last one again?
Uh, GAM or DS.
GAM. Ah, okay, of course. Yeah, well, most of us predict those 3 teams as well. Some people from our community are still a little bit hesitant to put you guys in the top 4 as well. But of course, we would be very happy to see you succeed there as well. So the big goal is Worlds.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you can also challenge for the title, or is Worlds right now so top 2 better?
I don't know it's yet, but maybe we can be the first. If we show our good performance like Scream.
That's it for the team. But you are our first player to talk to, right? So there were a lot of questions about Vietnamese or VCS pro players, and I want to ask you a few things, starting with the maybe most essential part. How did your career start when it came to your parents? How did your parents react when you told them, I want to be a pro player? Or did you even tell them? Did you try to do it behind their backs, or were they supportive? I'm very interested to hear what your parents thought of you becoming a pro player.
Uh, when I say to when I said to my parents that I want to be a pro gamer, I didn't want to learn as school anymore. They were very supportive me, and they said that you are 18 now, you can choose what you want, and of course they will cheer for me.
Oh, that is very good to hear. Some parents sometimes are not as supportive, so that is very nice. So looking at your solo queue, what is your favorite solo queue champion?
It's skill I want to play teacher face because he's really good at skill.
And we interviewed Michael, of course, a few days ago, and he told us that you have the nickname Zoe. Why are people calling you Zoe?
Uh, the nickname is I guess I do to some people in our organization. But I didn't know that people actually call me Zoe. It's good and inside job.
Okay. Well, now you know. Apparently, people call you Zoe.
Yeah.
But looking at the current pool of mid laners and the VCS, who would you say is the hardest player to play against, and maybe the favorite play, the player you like to play against most? Is this Dia1 or Diamant, as everyone would expect in our community, or do you think there's a different mid laner you really respect as well?
Mm, I I think every other millennials are at the same level. I I want to I want to play with them. Like I want to play with all of them.
Oh, okay. But there's no one special.
Yeah, no one's special.
Oh, okay. That's good to hear. It's a good mentality to become the best or be the best. Well, quite surprising to me, as I thought Diamond would prop up, but yeah, maybe You're confident in yourself. That is also very
Yeah,
nice.
I'm really confident.
You just a small little side question. You just got to the finals of the 1v1 tournament. Do you feel like you're a very strong 1v1 player?
Mm, um, in 1v1, I think I'm good, but in the team 5v5, I think I'm good too.
Mid laners do need to have it all, right? Most
Yeah.
important position on the map. So yeah, makes a lot of sense. 2 mid laners in the finals. So
Mm.
once again, showing that mid laners might be the best League of Legends players. So, the next question would be about the fans in the VCS, as well, there's very different fan culture between the Western regions, where most of our audience is from, of course, and the Korea and China, where we hear stories about fans being very like to give things, and a lot of female fans being there as well. How is the fan, or what is the fan structure like in Vietnam? Do you have a lot of female fans? Do you have a lot of supportive fans? Do you meet your friends often? How does it feel like?
I usually get t-shirts from my friends. My first gifts were received when I was in GAM. But the funny thing is, whenever I got the gifts, it was after I lost the game. It would be better if I win the game, so I can be happier.
Okay, so you receive gifts as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so probably more like the other Asian regions as well. There were
Mm,
some questions from our chat, so I quickly have to see which one we can talk about as well. So, some people still want to know about your old teammates from Skyred, and not only Levi, but also I think Noway was mentioned. Yeah, Noway. Do you still have relations with Noway as well?
yeah, of course. He's my big brother. He's very friendly.
Okay. Do you think maybe you can't tell us. So if you can't tell us, please don't. But do you think he'll play next season?
No, he's now a house streamer now.
Fair enough. Um, so which position would you play if mid lane if not mid lane? Do you have an off role? Do you have a role you would like to role swap to, or do you think mid lane is the only thing you want to play?
Maybe it's IDC. IDC is very easy to play.
So just like perks. Do you know
Yeah,
perks?
yeah, I know, of course.
So as we just touched on some other players, do you have international players you look up to? Maybe a Korean player, maybe a Chinese player, or even a Western player you would like to meet, and you also look up to play like them?
I like 𝘀𝗶𝗹𝗀𝗀 and Rookie. It would be nice if I can get to play against them. I would love to learn many things by playing against them.
Have you ever scrimmed one of those people?
No, I met them in the circle.
Ah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you also play on the Korean servers from time to time, right? Do
Yeah.
you feel a big difference between the Vietnamese server and the Korean server?
The current server is really challenging and hard to play. But if I want to improve my skills despite the ping, it's what.
The ping is quite high though, right? So,
Yeah.
uh, do you like to play there, or is it more I have to play there to improve?
I like I like to play there, and to improve it is my opportunity.
Okay, that's a very good work ethic. So, let's see. Would you ever like to go overseas like Levi did? Would you ever be tempted to live in a different country to play in different league, or do you think you want to stay in Vietnam?
If I have a chance, I would go to NASS because
Mhm.
American Dream.
Yeah, I think your English is very good. So maybe some NA teams should scout you. They need mid laners over there. They don't really have many good mid laners. So yeah, that is good. It's interesting to hear. The Do you feel like NA teams are better than the teams in the VCS?
Mm, I think they are a little bit better than ours.
Yeah.
We can we can we can go there.
Mhm. Yeah, I'd say so too. Just just in terms of like C9, of course, is very good.
Yeah.
But the rest probably okay. So another question from our fans: where would you rank yourself in the mid when you see the mid laners for the BCS, or among the mid laners of the BCS? Are you the best? Are you top two, top three? What do you think?
If I had to say, I would rank myself fifth because we were top five in the VCS last season.
Okay, that is a very diplomatic answer, but do you really believe that? Just yourself?
Yeah, I believe because because we are top five. If we top one, I am the best.
Fair enough, fair enough. So your team has to be top one for you to also be top one. That is
Yeah.
very team oriented and yeah, good motivation as well.
Mm.
So maybe there's some more light-hearted questions. As for example, you changed your name, right? You went from Zero Day to Yado, and some people are wondering if you just wanted to have the Zero Day backwards, right? If you Yado is kind of Zero Day backwards if you uh, put a zero in terms of number instead of zero. So was that the thing you thought about, or was Yado just something you wanted to be known
Um,
as?
it was a coincidence. I
Ah,
actually just thought the name Yado randomly,
oh,
not
okay.
zero day.
So it has nothing to do with Zero Day backwards. Okay.
Yeah.
Yado, is there a reason for you to be called Yado, or did you just like the sound of Yado?
I just like the sound of it. I like my name with the first letter of I, so I chose Yado.
Okay. Well, I think Yado sounds very nice. So yeah, good name in my opinion. Which champions would you like to play in the VCS, but you can't because those champions are just a little bit too, let's say, gimmicky, or you just can't play those in competitive matches. An assassin maybe, or maybe some niche, interesting pick you would really like to play.
Mm, Not yet, but if I can choose, I want to play. I want to play Diana maybe, or the champions in the jungle like 𝘀cie𝗰𝗋𝗀𝗀. If can go mid,
And okay. Fiddlesticks?
no, not that. I don't like him.
Sorry, I didn't get the champion name. Can you help me with?
𝘀cie𝗰𝗋𝗀𝗀, 𝘀cie𝗰𝗋𝗀𝗀,
Lee Sin,
Diana.
of course. Oh, sorry. You said Lee Sin. Yeah. Sorry, I've had some trouble understanding that. So Lee Sin on the mid lane. Well, we have seen Lee Sin on the mid lane very few seasons ago, of course, but unlikely that you ever get to play him, sadly. So you like Lee Sin? He's very mechanically, right? Do
Yeah.
you like to play mechanical champions?
Mm, yeah, of course. But if my team want to be want me playing as a champions like Galio or something like that, I will play.
Well, yeah, you can definitely try your hand at Galio.
Yeah.
𝘁cie likes to play Galio a lot, right? What what do you think would have happened if you never became a pro player? Would you just be studying right now? What would you do right now? What do you think?
Maybe right now I am going to school day by day, and it's really boring.
Yeah, we all can relate. So you definitely had made the right choice to become a pro player.
Yeah.
So what do you think you want to do after your pro player career? Of course, I hope it's not over for a long time and you get to play many more years, but there will be a time where you have to hang up the mouse and do something else. What do you think you want to do afterwards?
Nothing is a moment. But I can see myself trying to learn new things in life.
Always a good attitude. You should always be open to learn new things, of course. But you don't really have a career planned, anything. Some people want to go back to studying. Some people want to travel the world. So no big plans so far.
Yeah, no big plan.
Fair enough. So another thing some of our fans wanted to know is when you are on stage and you might get interviewed for getting the MVP. Do you prepare yourself for the interview beforehand, or do you just go into the interview and just answer the questions as they come? Do you ever prepare?
No, in the stack, I just focus on winning the games, and so I don't prepare to be interviewed.
Yeah, it makes the most sense to me. So yeah, just something a lot of people were curious about. And let's see. We what one more thing we really could talk about here is of course the current situation in the world with COVID-19. How did this affect you, the pandemic? How did you feel about the past split where everything had to change? And yeah, how did you cope with it?
We just stay inside the gaming house and practice a lot. But if I think about it now, the amount that we practice during the COVID was similar to what we used to practice during the normal times.
Okay, so not super different.
Yeah,
Okay, did you have the chance to go home at all, or do you just stay in the gaming house for the whole year?
no, I have no chance to go home. I just stay in gaming house and practice.
Okay, well, well. So maybe to close it out, the if you let's say you get to Worlds this year, what would be a good finish for you in Worlds? What would you like to achieve uh, if you were to go to Worlds? Would you be content just going there, just getting experience, or would you really like to get to group stage or even beyond that? What do you think would be okay for Yado to achieve?
Mm, uh, where if I have a chance to go to the world stage, I want to show my performances in and we of course I want to achieve the good results like going to the big four or big five.
Mhm. Well, that's very ambitious, but of course a very good goal to shoot for. One more question we that came up in the chat right now. Do you have a very funny out of game moment that maybe happened to you? Maybe on stage something went wrong, or anything with your team? Do you have a cool out of game experience you'd like to share?
Uh, when we when we go to the GG Stadium to play a game with EVOS. We I don't remember the team, and we have to wait because of the uh, internet, and it's too long, so we were very sleepy and cannot focus on the game.
Oh yeah, those pauses, man. Oh, happens quite often, right? Do you have a strategy to not go out of focus when the pauses happen? Because yeah, they happen sometimes, right? Do you have something? Do you meditate, or do you have some?
Mm, when at the time, I will try myself to focus on the game make, by shaking hands or do something like to make my to make my body hot, so I can focus on the game.
Okay, so you stretch and you try to play with the muscles a little bit to stay focused.
Yeah,
That's interesting. Okay. But no nothing mental you try to stay in focus?
no.
Okay, interesting enough. So, is there anything you want to say to your English-speaking fans? We definitely are super impressed by you being able to talk to us here in English, and you're very easy to understand. So I'm very, very happy that you made time for us today. Do you have something to say to all the fans watching you?
Thanks for watching me today, and thanks you for inviting me. I'm really happy.
That is super good to hear. I am very excited to see what servers can do, and the next split is going to be very, very hype. And yeah, best of luck. I hope you can make it to Worlds. And thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you so much.
So yeah, I think that's it for today. We had half an hour, and thank you everyone for tuning in. Sadly, we didn't have time to prepare the Facebook stream today, but it will be streamed on Facebook later as a VOD. So if you, we will definitely announce that again, and we'll be back soon enough. Of course, the split is only 2 weeks away, so expect some more content from all our sites. And of course, once again, thank you so much, Yado. Thank you to CERBERUS for making this happen and for letting us stream this. See you guys soon.
See you.